Alright, we're back with another installment in The Thing of the Week. And today's Thing of the Week, or this week's Thing of the Week, is all about a variant of an aikido technique. Well, it also exists in many other places, many other martial arts, beyond just aikido, but that's where most people recognize it from. And of course, it's the Kotegaeshi again.
What?
But I've realized, outside of actually showing it in sparring footage and talking to Alan from Crack Fu once about it, I haven't made like a dedicated video on that variant. Of course, there's this video, but it was just featured as part of a few different techniques, and it wasn't explicitly focused on that variant, but today I'm going to talk about that variant specifically. I've never, ever once seen anyone but me do it. And I'm not saying I invented it, because somebody somewhere has done it, probably better, but I just haven't seen people talk about this particular variant anywhere. And you guys watching, if you have people that have done this exact variant, send me videos. I'd love to talk to those people. But yeah, let's talk about this variant of Kotegaeshi that I do, and just break it down and talk about ins and outs of it. Alright, let's first look at the standard Kotegaeshi technique that at this point on the internet so many people have performed it, both in sparring and in competitions. Like, this is, at this point, regarding the lower percentage techniques, it proved to be one of the better ones that we have evidence of working in all kinds of different scenarios. So like, at this point I think this is totally fine and doesn't need any apologetics, really. But what I want to talk about today is a different variant, and it's this one right here. Okay, whizzer, overhook, boom, and straight into an armbar. So what's happening here is, as you can see, I'm from here securing an overhook with my left arm, and I'm already cranking the wrist a little bit with my right hand, and then I step in, lock that arm, as you can see, and crank the wrist. Boom. Just happens really quickly if you crank it properly, and if the person of course obviously doesn't expect it, because it's all lower percentage anyways, but that doesn't mean it doesn't work. And I want to show you one more thing. Now this here is a really interesting one, because here, if you can see, I had an underhook and he went for an overhook, because he usually goes for the whizzer kick or the uchimata. But as you can see, I'm securing that wrist immediately, and I'm already setting it up, and he notices that, so he releases his overhook, and he can't go with the uchimata or the whizzer kick because I'm jeopardizing his wrist, which results, boom, in a Kotegaeshi. So like, getting wrist locks from these positions, either from already being whizzered or you having a whizzer, I'd say is probably the best place to set this up. Even better, rather than from a collar tie or grip breaks, or if you're doing gi, this is the spot where it works the best. And this is where most of the real functional Kotegaeshis happen. It's a very interesting one, and the whizzer variant, I've never seen anyone else talk about it and do it, so I wanted to focus on it a bit more specifically in a concrete video. But for the rest of this video, I'll leave you with a clip from the Star Trek Skit video, where I did focus on a couple of different techniques, and this whizzer variant was in it. So I'll just leave you with that clip, and I guess that will be it for this video. Now another one that I've done a few times that is really probably the best way to do a Kotegaeshi wrist lock, and I've showed it to Alan, and from here, look at that. That's, and just if you start cranking, like, I'm screwed. Like, see, like, it's so much harder to get here. Like, we already.
And even if not, then you just
exactly. You can go for guillotines. You can just throw knees. But it's one of those that really looks effortless, even more so than the typical Kotegaeshi that you'd be do from here. If you go in a underwood, and I go in an overhook, and I control this wrist, and whenever we're fighting, we're grappling, head position, whatever, and the person isn't expecting me to do a wrist lock from here, this looks really effortless, especially if you properly crank it, go all the way down, you can get in a perfect armbar, just like that.
Oh man. Oh man.
And it looks even more effortless than the typical aikido bullshit. Here, well, we can see what's happening, and you can visibly see the continuum of motion and breaking the direction stuff. But from here, it's really, this angle looks like the person just falls down. That's all it takes. And again, it needs perfect timing, but it can work, especially if the person knows how to defend the Kotegaeshi, like all of us fortunately know. If you didn't know how to defend this, you might not roll. You might tap here, or we could go to something else. But since you know that you need to roll to relieve the pressure, you get a perfect armbar. So one more time, you're here, so we're fighting, whatever, look, you're back. That's all it takes. But perfect timing, perfect position, it takes time to set this up, because nobody's gonna just give it to you like that. But if you're fighting, if you crank here, if you get here, control this back, now I put it here, maybe I got a bigger chance. So that's the whole idea. For more content about all kinds of martial arts, subscribe, like and share and comment and all that good stuff. If you're interested in more stuff like this, esoteric techniques, aikido, kung fu, whatever, there are playlists on the channel and we got hundreds and hundreds of videos. Thanks for watching, guys. Take care.